Hi class, this is Mrs. Bradford with your video from your take-home packet of your mole to mole problems and mole to gram problems. I am going to do page 2 of the packet. I've got the first problem up. I'm going to do problems 3, 4, and 5 for you. And I've also got the skeleton that we use to explain where all the numbers go for those of you who have difficulty understanding how to do gram to gram calculations. So here we go. Problem number 3, and if you don't have the packet right in front of you, you might want to pause it and go get the packet and then come back so you can follow along with me. All right, problem number 3. We have aluminum fluoride reacting with oxygen to produce aluminum oxide plus fluorine, and that's probably a gas. So, in this reaction, it needs to be balanced before you can do the problems. If you don't remember how to balance, see me in class, but the coefficients you should get should be 4, 3, 2, and 6. All right, the first problem says, let's see if I can go in a little bit there. First problem says, how many moles of F2 will be produced if we use 20 moles of aluminum fluoride? So, our starting is 20 moles of aluminum fluoride. Put that at the beginning of the picket fence. Always what you know goes there. Now, notice that we weren't giving grams, we were given the moles. So instead of starting here, we actually start here. And you don't write 1 mole, you write the moles that were given to you, and that's 20 moles. So we're right here on the picket fence. We're not going to use these two sections. Next step is to use the mole ratio from the actual chemical equation. Well, our A is aluminum fluoride, and our B is the fluorine that we're looking for. So this many moles goes on the bottom, the 4 moles of aluminum fluoride, and that's going to allow these units to cancel, which is what you want. And you're going to put the 6 moles of fluorine on the top, and that happens to be what we're looking for. And we're going to stop right there. We're not going to do this last part of the picket fence. We would only do this last section if we were looking for grams. We're not. We're looking for moles of fluorine, which is our B. So we're going to stop the calculations here. We've got the units that we want. And when you put this in your calculator, you're going to take 20, multiply it by 6, and divide by 4. And that's going to give you a value of 30 moles of fluorine gas. All right. The next problem, problem B says, oh, and this is a typo. I typed moles here. That should be moles. How many moles of aluminum fluorine will react with 0.6 moles of oxygen? So now we know we have that many moles of oxygen, so that's going to be our A, and I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And our B is going to be actually aluminum fluoride. All right, so this is part B. We know how many moles of oxygen we have. We're trying to figure out how many moles of aluminum fluoride we'll need for that reaction if we have 0.6 moles of oxygen. So you're going to take what you know, which is 0.6 moles of oxygen. And notice again, we're not starting here because we were not given grams. We're starting here because we were given moles. So we know how many moles of oxygen we have, and we're trying to figure out how many moles of aluminum fluoride, which is our B. So we only need 1 section of the picket fence. So mole ratio, we have 4 moles to 3. What goes on the bottom? The oxygen, because we want that to cancel. 3 moles of O2 on the bottom. And on the top, I'm going to put my 4 moles of aluminum fluoride. And when you put that in the calculator, you're going to take 0.6 times 4 and divide it by 3. And you should get an answer of 0.8 moles of aluminum fluoride. Okay? Scoot that up so you can see it. Okay, so that's how you do those problems. That's how they should be set up. Oh, let me cancel these units out so you see that cancels. Okay, all right, next is problem number 4. I've got that here, so I'm going to switch papers on you. There's problem number 4. It is a combustion reaction. Hope you remember how to balance combustion reactions. And if you balance that correctly, your coefficients are going to be 1 You don't have to write the 1 here. You can leave it blank. It's understood to be 1 if it's left blank. 1, 5, 3, and 4. So 1 mole reacts with 5 moles to produce 3 and 4 moles, okay? So this is actually propane. So 1 mole of propane reacts with 5 moles of oxygen to produce 3 moles of carbon dioxide and 4 moles of water. So that's how you would put that in word form. And the very first question says, how many moles of oxygen? So that's my B. React with 11 moles of propane. So I'm going to put, this is my A. What you know goes here, 11 moles. Anytime you're given the moles, you start with the moles. You're not starting here, you're actually starting here. So I wrote 11 moles. And I need to do the mole conversion. I want to know moles of oxygen. That would be here. So I stop right there. So I'm going to put 1 mole of methane on the bottom from the chemical equation, the balanced chemical equation. And I have 5 moles of oxygen. And in this case, you're simply going to take 11 times 5 because we're dividing it by 1. And any number divided by 1 is that number. So 11 times 5 equals 55 moles of O2. And if you hear my son screaming in the background, well, that's just what he does. I was hiding in the basement, but it's not working. All right. So next problem. It wants to know how many moles of carbon dioxide are produced from 3.5 moles of water. So now, in this case, water is my A, and we're going to erase this because that was from the other problem. And CO2 is what I'm looking for, so that's my B. So again, I start with moles, so instead of starting here, I'm not giving grams, I'm giving moles. So I start at this location, and instead of writing 1 mole, I'm going to write 3.5 moles. All right, so that's what I'm starting with. And now I need the mole ratio. Where you see these question marks, that's the mole ratio from the chemical reaction. So how many moles of water do I have? 4. I want to put that on the bottom because then that'll allow that to cancel. And then I'm going to put 3 moles of CO2 on the top. That'll give me the units I'm looking for. Let me scoot the paper up. And when you put this in your calculator, you're going to take 3.5 times 3 divided by 4. Okay, and that's going to give you, I got 2.63. I'm sure if you get something different, you guys will tell me about it in class on Tuesday. All right, that's number 4. Lastly, I'm going to do number 5. Let's see if I find my paper here. Had to put the picket fence on the bottom on this page. So here's number 5 with the skeleton picket fence on the bottom. All right. Number 5, if you balance that equation, it's going to be 3, 4, 2. 3 moles of oxygen react with 4 moles of iron to produce 2 moles of iron 3 oxide. All right, and so these coefficients go into the word equation. So you're going to put 3, 4, and 2 here. That's all that is. Next, we want to know how many moles of oxygen, so that's my B, are required to produce 3 moles of iron 3 oxide. So I'm going to put A here because that's what I know. I'm not starting here. I was not given grams. I was given moles. So I'm going to start here on my picket fence. I don't need that. Start here on my picket fence, and instead of putting 1 mole, I'm going to put the moles given to me. All right? So let's see if I can scoot this here on the bottom. That's 3.0 moles of Fe2O3. All right, and now I need the mole ratio. So I have 2 moles here. I want to put that at the bottom so that it cancels out. And then at the top, I want to put what I'm looking for, which is moles of oxygen. So I'm going to put 3 moles of oxygen on the top. That cancels out, gives me the units I'm looking for. And so in this case, you're going to take 3 times 3 and divide it by 2, and you should get 4.5 moles of O2. And that takes care of that page of the homework that I gave you over the weekend. Watch this video as many times as you need to, because you know you're going to have a quiz on Wednesday. And look for help with the very last page, because I'm going to see if I can make that video later tonight. All right? Take care. Stay warm. It's snowing outside, and we'll see you Tuesday. Hope you're having a great break. Bye-bye.